Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review, and now I think now I was going to do a review of my one of my favorite films of this year, which I'll also be putting into my top list. But and I did a brief. I also earlier in the year I did a brief movie review of it when I saw it in the theaters. And I still enjoy this film. And this one, and it's another animated film I enjoy this year. Mr. Peabody Sherman. Yes, Mr. Peabody Sherman came out in March this year, and I did, like I said, after I saw this in the theater, I did a brief movie review of it, which is still up, but I didn't get too much detail into it. I just described the basic plot of it though, but I just want to wait for it on DVD, and then I would be able to do a more thorough review of it, which I said. So now let's get into it. So, like I said, Mr. Peabody Sherman is, like I said, another film from DreamWorks Animation, which I do enjoy. It's not my favorite film of the year, but I did enjoy it though. But it's on my list though, which I'll get to when I do that video. And it was based on, and the film was based on an of the 1960s animated television series on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, and of the same title, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and this is directed by Rob Minkoff, who is mostly famously known. He directed The Lion King. Co-directed The Lion King. He's one of the was he a co-director on The Lion King? Let me see. Yeah, he was one of the co-directors of The Lion King. But he also directed the Forbidden Kingdom with Jackie Chan and Jet Li, And when he also directed The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, Stuart Little 1 and 2, and another film called Flypaper, which I haven't seen. But yeah, so he co-directed. Rob Minkoff, he co-directed The Lion King, Stuart Little 1 and 2, the Forbidden Kingdom, and now he directed this. And the voice talents of Ty Burrell, who voices Mr. Peabody, Ty Burrell, who starred in the sitcom the comedy series of was the Modern Family, and which you also play also remember him. He played he was a Steve in Dawn of the Dead remake, and which I like Dawn of the Dead, the remake. He played Steve, the jerk Steve in Dawn of the Dead, and the other films he appeared in. He was in the sequel National Treasures, Book of Secrets. He had an old role in The Incredible Hulk. Other films, which he was also in Muppets Most Wanted, the sequel. He was the policeman, Napoleon. In the trailer, he was with one of the other Muppets, showing him his badge, and which he'll also be voicing in the upcoming sequel, Finding Dory. And Ty Burrell, he did good as Mr. Peabody. Yeah, that was one of the good things. I like Ty Burrell as Mr. Peabody. He did really good. And when the film came out on March 7th, and it opened up at number 2, behind the sequel 300, Rise of an Empire. But on the next weekend, it reclaimed number 1 on a second weekend, and on a budget of 145 million. In the total worldwide, it made 272 million, but like in the U.S., it made like 111, and the whether the critics or whoever, because they called the film a commercial failure because it didn't do that well in the United States, But but it did fair enough in the it did fair enough, you know, in overseas, you know, helped make it gross 272 million. I thought it was pretty good though, but they say they call it calling a financial failure or commercial success, you know, which I understand though. Yeah, even though it didn't do not quite as well in the U.S., but it still made gross over 100 million, you know. But I don't think I wouldn't call it a financial failure, in my opinion, you know. But even despite all that, though, it did get praised by critics. It's a 7.0 on IMDb and it has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was good. And also including other voice casting, Max Charles, who voices Sherman, Ariel Winter voices Penny, which I'll get into, and all the other supporting characters, which I'll get into. But it opens up, but in the starting of the film, it opens up with Mr. Peabody, who is, of course, he's a talking dog. You know, he's supposed to be like the smartest person in the world. You know, he tells about his life story when he was a puppy. He never got adopted to a family. You know, so he dedicated his life to science, you know, and everything else he can do, you know, technology, sports, whatever, you know. Like he said, he invented the fist pump, auto tunes, planking, you know, the rip away pants, you know, and what was that dance move what it was called, you know. And of course he talks about how his adopted son Sherman, you know, he adopted him, you know. He made him, he said he made him inspired for the biggest invention he's ever did, which is called a time machine called the Wayback. So he takes Sherman to like France, you know, during the time of the French Revolution, you know, how they escaped, like Mr. Peabody being his head cut off from the guillotine. So and after that incident they go back to the present because Sherman's first day of school, you know, and when Sherman's at school, you know, there's a student by the name of Penny, you know. Like she gets like mad, you know, because like when the teacher asks what George Washington chopped down was a cherry tree, you know, and Sherman said that he didn't really do that, you know, and that gets her angry, you know, and during lunchtime, you know, she bullies him, you know, calling him a dog, you know, because saying your father's a dog, so that makes you a dog as well, you know. So he gets humiliated, you know, and he bites her, you know, and Mr. Peabody is talking to the principal. Actually, the voice of the principal was Stephen Tobolowsky, you know, that's how his last name is pronounced. He's been in films like he was a sheriff in Wild Hogs, you know. He voiced he was also Happy Chapman in Garfield the movie. So he had like this brief role as the principal, saying that describing what Sherman did. And they have this woman by the name of Miss Grunion, you know, who's like from the child services, you know, child and family services, you know, and he threatens Mr. Peabody to take Sherman away, you know, away from him. But Mr. Peabody wouldn't let that happen. So like it shows when during the night when Mr. Peabody is walking by all the photos of him and Sherman, you know, like when from the different times since he was a baby, you know, and during those flashbacks is, you know, yeah, that song, Beautiful Boy, you know, which is a song that sang by John Lennon, you know, beautiful boy, you know, that's playing during those flashbacks is, you know, when Mr. Peabody adopts Sherman, you know. He said he want, you know, with the judge, which is voiced by Dennis Haysbert. He says, well, since it's for a boy to adopt a dog, there's no reason for why a dog should adopt a boy, you know. So, and then next thing, so he starts preparing some dinner, you know, inviting the Petersons, you know, which Sherman does not like, you know, because she doesn't like him, he doesn't like her, you know. Her parents, you know, the mother and father are voiced by Leslie Mann and Stephen Colbert, you know. Leslie Mann voiced Linda in Rio 1 and 2, and Stephen Colbert previously in another DreamWorks animated film, Monsters vs. Aliens, which he voiced the president, you know. So they both voices Penny's parents. So Mr. Body invited them over, so they could put this whole biting business behind them, so that Mr. Groening doesn't take away Sherman. So when Penny is talking to Sherman, how did he know that George Washington chopped a cherry tree? He accidentally blurts out, that there's this time machine, which Mr. Peabody told him not to. He's like, make it quick and don't tell about the way back. But eventually, he shows her the way back. So they travel back in time to Egypt. And Sherman comes back just him by himself and tells him what happened. So Mr. Peabody like hypnotizes the parents. So they're like this a blank expression on their faces. So next time, so they take the way back to Egypt. Said that the Penny was gonna marry a King Tut, and they described that they're both die very young, but they're preparing for the ceremony already, and Mr. Peabody just like uses is inside the mouth of Anubis, pretending like it's speaking to them, to let her go, but they mess up, and they eventually escape and they head back to the way back, and they're like running a little bit low, so they make a stop in Florence, Italy, where they visit Leonardo da Vinci, which is voiced by Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci voices Leonardo da Vinci. He was trying to get Mona Lisa to smile to finish his painting, and which is not working, So Mr. Peabody gets a way to try to make her laugh, but like falling on his nose, but it doesn't work. But eventually, he gets his face caught in a painting, which is that right there, in which Mona Lisa laughs, like, oh, that's right, just hold it right there, So Mr. Peabody asks him to help build this thing, which uses to charge the way back, so they can hit back, Penny wants to wants to go with Sherman, and they see his Leonardo's great flying machine, wants to Penny wants to know how this thing works, but really she wants to fly the thing, And what they do, they start flying the plane, Sherman's flying it, and Mr. Peabody says, you do not know how to fly. And Susie says that they just go and crash the plane, And Mr. Peabody gets mad about that, So what's the use of the Leonardo's invention to help charge the way back, and they head back through the time warp, And Mr. Peabody is still angry about it, and Miss Penny actually says, how Mr. Groening is just trying to take Sherman away from him. And they're discussing that they're heading towards a black hole. So Mr. Peabody is trying to hit the reverse button, try to pull away from the black hole. And Sherman's yelling at Mr. Peabody, for not telling him about that, And Mr. like, Sherman said, and he talks back to him saying, don't tell me what to do. I'm not a dog, But he didn't. But Mr. Peabody says, "You're right, Sherman. You're just a very bad boy, So they pull away from the black hole, but they end up landing into another incident in the past, which they arrive in Greece, which they arrive at the time for the Trojan War, where the soldiers are hiding the big wooden horse, But and then Sherman, tries to join the army of it. And Mr. Peabody tells him you can't, But he does not listen to him, so they go through the gates. The horse goes through the gate. And then during the battle, Penny gets stuck in the wooden horse and starts rolling away, So Mr. Peabody finds a plan to hold the horse to avoid from falling off the cliff. And Penny's toga gets stuck on a nail, and Mr. Peabody saves them both by pushing him off a plank, and as the horse falls off the cliff, and they think that Mr. Peabody is dead, so they go back to the Wayback, which Mr. Peabody warned them by going back to to a realm that you already exist in, because it'll mess everything up, but they do it anyway. They warn the other Mr. Peabody, tell him what happened, and then a second Sherman shows up, but then the other Mr. Peabody shows that the original Mr. Peabody shows up, and Miss Grunion is there as well. She comes in, and they see like two of each of them, but both of them get joined together, and it alters the universe. But Mr. Grunion doesn't care about that. She starts taking Sherman away. Then Mr. Peabody starts getting angry. His dog instincts, and he starts growling and bites her. And she starts calling the police about it, and they run away back to the Wayback. They try to go back to another part of the past, but it doesn't work. So they're still in the city. They get chased around the city, and all the other members of the past, like Leonardo da Vinci, Beethoven, the King, King Achmed, the Greek, the leader of the Greek soldiers, for how his name is pronounced, and even Albert Einstein, which starts crossing ways like, "Hey Einstein," from a taxi cab. "Hey Einstein, it's a red light," and I was like, "Hey, I'm walking here," which Albert Einstein is voiced by Mel Brooks. Really enough, Mel Brooks in a short voice role as Albert Einstein, and that was nice, to add Mel Brooks in there, because I like Mel Brooks. Love most of his comedy films, like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, and Spaceballs, So yeah, that was nice to add Mel Brooks voicing as Albert Einstein, "Hey, I'm walking here." And everyone else, and everyone else arrives in front of Wes. The Wayback crashes down, and the leader of the French guy who was in the French Revolution, I don't know who that guy was, but as the police come, like they're telling him to put the sword down, he's like, "I take orders from no man," and they tase him, and which is that scene right there. He's like, "Oh la la," as he gets tased, right there, and everyone stay back, so they they begin to take Mr. Peabody away, to the dog, like a dog, those things that they put on stray dogs, and Sherman, tells that this was all his fault. This was his fault for what he had done. He's saying that I am a dog, and everyone else starts raising their hands saying, "I am a dog too, and me too," And Miss Grunion says that no one can what was that let me see, where is that da, 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 da. No one could change what it is, Then George Washington reverses, saying all men, women, even dogs, are all equal, And even a presidents, Abraham Lincoln and Bill Clinton is there, So after that, more of the stuff that's from the past, through the portal from the sky keeps on falling down, and everyone, Mr. Peabody says, this is the greatest group of collective geniuses, they all think of something, Everyone says a different thing, and then Sherman has an idea. It says, why not go to the future, He says, I've never been to the future, so it's probably not as messed up, So they plan to take the way back and try to transport all the way to the future by going really, really fast, at the precise moment, which they do, and everything starts going back up, and all of the old people from the past, they start going back up as well. And as the Greek soldier, Ogmignon, whatever his name is, grabs Miss Grunion, who really likes her, you know. Like, the Grunion is mine, you know. He takes her with him back up to the past, you know. So everything, and they come back all right, you know. Um, and everyone's like celebrates, yay, you know. So later on, everything's back to normal. Sherman goes back to school, which now, um, he is now friends with Penny, you know, and at the school, Sherman hugs Mr. Peabody, you know, and Mr. Peabody says, "I love you," you know, because earlier he says, when Sherman said "I love you," he says, "I share the same condolence." What was it? I too share the same sentiment, you know. But this time he says, "I love you," you know. And then he looks at the audience and says, "No doubt about it. Every dog should have a boy," you know. And so he rides away in his moped, you know. And it shows that the things back in the past they have all the things from the future, like in Egypt they have like foam fingers, and one of them is dressed as a Statue of Liberty, you know. Or and the French guy from the French Revolution has a taser and actually tases himself again, you know. Or Albert Einstein, Mel Brooks, you know, shows that he thought he completed the Rubik's Cube, but has one white spot that he missed. You know, he gets angry, and breaks it on the floor, you know. Or or George Washington has a $1 bill, and all the girls thought it was good, but then Benjamin Franklin shows he's on the $100 bill, and all the girls follow him, you know. Or was it back in Greece, you know, the lead soldier marries Miss Grunion, you know, and everyone's riding away in the Trojan horse, you know. And then credits. So yeah, I do enjoy the film. It's one of my favorite films this year, you know. And also, well, this is also the last film I saw at the Century Theaters, which before they closed down, the last night when the Century Theaters, you know, near next to the Winchester Mystery House, you know. Even though I saw this film at another theater, but I wanted to make this film the last film I see at the Century Theaters before they close down, you know. It's really sad that they closed those theaters down, torn down, you know. You know, but we're gonna, you know, it's been there for over was it now over 40 years, I think. So yeah, so if it was one last night, you know, so I better see this film again for one last time at the Century Theaters, you know. So yeah, so I'll remember part of this film. So this makes it the last film I saw at the Century Theaters, you know. But anyways, as I was saying, I do enjoy the film. The voice cast, they did really good, you know. Like Ty Burrell as Mr. Peabody, he was good. The supporting cast, Max Charles as Sherman was good. Ariel Winter as Penny was good. Other supporting cast members, Stanley Tucci as Leonardo da Vinci. Even Mel Brooks, who had a little voice role as Albert Einstein, even he was good, you know, because I like Mel Brooks. The music, I like the music, which is made the score of the film by Danny Elfman. He did the score for this film. I enjoy a lot. Like I said, I enjoy a lot of Danny Elfman's scores in films, you know. So he did a good job with the score in this film. Give him that. Directed by Rob Minkoff, he did a good job directing. He did a good job directing the film, you know. Which I still say the best film even though he's a co-director though, but I still say the best film still is His best film is still The Lion King, you know. But even though they say the film is a commercial or financial failure, just because it didn't do well in the U.S., even though it was close though. On a budget of $145 million and made like 111, you know. Just short of it, still I wouldn't call it a commercial failure, you know. Even though with help of overseas, you know, they said that like overseas doesn't count though, it's just on the U.S. alone though. But still, if it would made over $272 million, and even worthy enough to make over 100 million in the U.S., you know, it's not that much of a commercial failure or financial failure, in my opinion, you know. but they say it is, but it's all a matter of opinion, you know. Uh, Anything else? And I think they're reading on. They said they ordered like they're gonna make a television series, you know, composed of 78 episodes, you know, which I would like to see because I like the films based on DreamWorks animation. I love DreamWorks' Dragons, Penguins, and Madagascar. You know, Monsters vs. Aliens, which is a short TV show, which is not gonna gets for a second season, which is sad, you know. But the other ones I like the Penguins of Madagascar TV show. Love Dragons, you know. Looking forward for the third season, which is called Dragon Masters. So I wouldn't mind seeing a TV show of Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I wouldn't mind at all. Yeah, so that's basically it. So that's my review for Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Like I said, it's definitely one of my favorite films of this year, and I enjoyed it. Which I will mention in my top 10. No, there is gonna be not a top 10. There's gonna be more than that, you know. I try, like I said, for this year, I tried to make a top 10 list, but there's more films. I just had to make more than this top 10. But on my top list, though, it's definitely in there. It is gonna be definitely in my true top 10, though, because I enjoy the film, you know, and I know it's that DreamWorks Animation always made good films. So I'm not sure which one I'm not the. I remember what DreamWorks Animation I was not the biggest fan of. I don't think there is one, but if there is, I would say though. But DreamWorks Animation always did make good films, especially the Madagascar franchise, the Shrek franchise, or Monsters vs. Aliens, which is my favorite. Which is always it's this. Monsters vs. Aliens is tied with How to Train Your Dragon. Well, the second film. The first film or the second film, but it's a tie though. Oh, I put it as tie as my favorite films from DreamWorks Animation. But I still enjoy the film as well, and it was very good as well. So this is my deep, thorough review of the film, and I'll still keep my my brief movie review video of it. You know, I'll still keep it up. You know. But this is the more thorough review of it. So that's my review for Mr. Peabody and Sherman. One of my favorite anime films of the year. Not my most favorite film of the year, which I'll get to when I do my top list, you know. But I do enjoy it. So thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.